Welcome to Steven's Comics.
And why I made this happen, and everybody goes and got unbroken, but I cannot pop locks, bust me open. No. Whoa.
What's up, comic book fans? This is Steven here with Steven's Comics. This haul that I've got for you is going to feature Only We Can Never Go Home. Now, the title is written by Matthew Rosenberg. It's drawn by Josh Hood. It's got some other artists that have done wonderful covers. There was also a previous series that Matthew was working on with another artist that had different artwork, but it was a whole issue. So, got a little bit I'm going to talk about with the series, and basically, this is just a dedication to my love for this book and sort of my explanation as to why I think you should also love this title. Now, We Can Never Go Home, it kind of came out of nowhere for me. I actually was originally looking for The Disciples, which is written by Steve Niles and has Wes Craven also working on it too, I believe. Anyways, I was looking for that from Black Mask, and I came across issue number 2 of We Can Never Go Home, and loved it. It was very much, it reminded me a lot of my childhood, of my teen years, about how I felt as a person growing up. It reminded me of why I used to love the X-Men so much. The X-Men are probably my favorite superhero team ever, and We Can Never Go Home just, it kind of has that same us against them feeling as the X-Men often does. So I really liked it. I'm a punk rock kid at heart too, and there's a ton of punk rock influence on the title, so there's that as well. And after picking up issue number 2, I went on eBay and I started looking for issue number 1 and noticed that it was going for like $15, and I said, why is this indie title that I've never heard of, that I haven't read anything about, any reviews or anything, going for $15? Come to find out, the print run is almost nothing compared to many comics. I mean, there's a lot of indie titles that have way less print runs than this, but nevertheless, it was hard to find at the time and I paid around, I think, $17 shipped for my first copy of the regular cover to issue number 1. So I picked up issue number 1, I read it, loved it, couldn't wait for issue number 3 to come out. Issue number 3 comes out, and there's almost an explosion started to happen. It was really neat to see. I was watching it on forums and some people talking about it on YouTube, and eBay was ripe with buyers for We Can Never Go Home, and it was just really cool to see. And not to mention that issue number 3 also had the turning point in the story. It's when it really started to pick up. Issue number 1 was one of the best issue number 1s I've ever read, but issue number 3 is probably the best issue number 3 of a series I've read in the last 20 years. So, anyways, once again, I love this title. We'll just go from here. This is issue number 1. Pretty classic now in my eyes. Like this, I don't know, I just really like this cover. It's pretty iconic to me. Anyways, issue number 1 here now currently goes for anywhere between $50 and $150. If it's even raw. I've seen the prices have just gone up and down like crazy. Mind you, that the title's only a year old or so, so it's not much to go on for price. Nevertheless, it is kind of pricey. Here is a PGX 9.4. I bought a lot that had 1 through 4 signed and graded from PGX. Normally I don't exactly go towards PGX. That's another video in itself, but I picked up this set for a good price, and it was signed and certified, so Figured why not. Here's number 2, or issue number 1 again. Here's number 2. Cool thing about number 2, it's got a really neat hand-drawn cover. Or maybe actually, yeah, it's got a really neat hand-drawn cover. Issue 2, I want to say, out of all the regular prints, actually has the lowest print run. So, if you do find issue 2 out in the wild or for a decent price on eBay, I've been picking up a ton of them. So, I should put that out there that I am almost invested in We Can Never Go Home, but it's not like I'm speculating on this book like I do on Spider-Man or Deadpool or something like that, because when I'm speculating on Deadpool and Spider-Man, it's because I think there is a mass appeal to the characters, and every day there's a new Spider-Man fan, and every day there's a new Deadpool fan. So there's that aspect to it. But with We Can Never Go Home, I sort of built a relationship with the writer Matthew Rosenberg, and with Black Mask as a company, and with some of their other writers. So I really just support this title, as this is something that I'm watching some really cool people put out, and if I can help them put this out by buying a couple extra issues, then why not? Most of the art, I think, has been really cool for a lot of their variants. There is a ton of variants for this title, so the printing, while the first issue maybe has a print run of 3,600 or so, split between 5 or 6 covers, 7, 8, 9 covers anyways, there's a lot more prints after that, so it's easy to read this story. You don't need to necessarily go out and buy the high-priced variants for this. You could probably go on Amazon right now, spend $10 and get issue 1 through 5 in an awesome trade back with cool stories at the end, and so I'm just putting that out there. So I am invested in this title, but it's more as I want to see what more they can do 5 years from now. So anyways, this is issue number 2. It's got the lowest, I think, print run out of all the regular covers. Issue number 3. This one had a little story to it. I remember, I think it was Bleeding Cool did something showing how there might have been like the possibility of never being able to show the same splash page again. There's a page where one of the main characters dresses up in a bunch of different copyrighted superhero outfits, and they went and ran with that too, because if you pick up a second print or a third print or so of this title, of issue number 3, it's a different splash page. I think it's still like copyright infringement. I'm not sure. I couldn't tell you. I'm sure they know, but there is costumes in it of other superheroes, so it's got that risque to it. You'll have to check it out. That's why you should pick up a copy of issue number 3. And here's issue number 4. Now, usually with modern books, I try to get everything in 9.8, but I couldn't pass up on the price on this. The number 1 was a 9.4, according to PGX. Number 2 was a 9.8, so that's got that going for it. 3 was a 9.6, and 4 was a 9.4. I'm not sure how they distributed this from their printer, because I know a lot of Black Mask, they do a lot of hands-on, a lot of their own packaging, so there was the chance for these to kind of get damaged a little bit. Anyway, so that was issue number 4, and then I'll show you issue number 5 real quick. Issue 4, I want to say, has the largest of the print runs, but I'm so invested in issue number 4 that I literally have, I think, 30 copies of it, maybe more. You can still find it for cover, so if you go on Midtown or My Comic Shop or even eBay, you probably can find it for less than those 2 sites. So issue 4 has got a higher print run, still less than 4,000, I think, maybe a little bit more than 4,000, but pretty small. And then issue 5, the numbers went down just a little bit. So there's that. And then I'll show you a couple variants real quick. This is the Phantom variant. Most of their variants are based on punk rock album covers. So I always thought that was pretty cool. Phantom did, I want to say, 250 of that cover. This is maybe the Forbidden Planet cover, a Sid and Nancy cover. The story itself is about some teenagers who have realized that they're different from the rest of the world. This is another Forbidden Planet. This one's signed. Got a lot of these signed. Matthew was doing a lot of conventions, a lot of signings at shops. Just, he is really a man of the people, so that's another reason why I kind of got so attached to this title, is because he would message you back, and he did want to keep all the fans in the loop. And he also, when it comes to like all the variants, he didn't put all these variants out there with the intention that fans of the series needed to collect every single one. If you want to do that, I'm sure he loves it. But the fact is that he has friends in the comic book community that are really great artists that he just wanted to get out there. And I think it's cool. He's given an opportunity for a ton of different artists to put some really great pictures out there. So anyways, back to this. I don't even remember what I was saying. This is just Forbidden Planet side. Sid and Nancy. Punk rock covers. Anyways, yeah. It's a Minor Threat. I want to say Bad Brains. There's a cool Clash trade back. Just a ton. Shoot, I can't even remember which one this is now. This is maybe Jetpack Comics, Third Eye. There's a lot of different variants, like I said. This, I think, is the Third Eye Comics variant. Please throw it in the comments and correct me if I'm wrong. So they also, once I get to it, put out a ton of swag for their fans. Black Mask, that is. So there's t-shirts, there's buttons, there's stickers. They know how to create some merch, and it's not like they're charging an arm and a leg for it all. They kind of get it out to their fans at cost, so that's pretty cool too. This is a 50 print. There's only 50 of these in the world. I want to say this is Larry's Comics. This is pretty cool. They've done a couple 50 prints. One of them was the San Diego Comic-Con one. That one's got a really cool Alexis Zurett. Can't pronounce his name. I should have looked it up. I apologize. He's the artist for Space Riders, but he did a really cool cover for that one. And that one, the price tag on that is too high for me. I almost pulled the trigger, but I want to say it's probably still over $400 for that cover. But you can get these Larry's Comics ones. I think they were starting out at 50. You might even be able to find them cheaper than that. Oops, sorry. Let's adjust that real quick. Anyways, you might be able to find them cheaper than that. I really think they're cool. This is the other one that Larry's Comics did, the micro print. Also only 50 copies of this, so that's awesome. Did I mention that We Can Never Go Home is coming back in 2016? Probably not. They have, on May 6th, is Free Comic Book Day this year. Get to your local comic shop, support your comic shop. Don't just go there on Free Comic Book Day, but make sure you do go there on Free Comic Book Day and pick up, among a billion other free comics, the We Can Never Go Home, Young Terrorist, Black Mask, Free Comic Book Day comic. It's kind of, I think, supposed to connect what has been going on since the end of issue number 5 for We Can Never Go Home and the beginning of volume 2. So this is the 1 in 5 comic. This is the cover to the Arden Comics issue that I was talking about earlier, where a different artist, I can't remember her name, I'm so sorry, she was the original artist to the first issue. I have no idea what the print run is to that, but I imagine it's pretty small. This was the cover to that. So this is also the 1 in 5 to this, though. And I imagine there's probably less than 1,000 of these, at least. Probably less than 500, maybe. I don't know. Anyways, I've got a couple of these now. That's 1, 2, couple more here. Really like that cover. And it's pretty cheap compared to like the regular cover, which is weird. I never understand when a variant that has a pretty cool cover can be found so much cheaper. I mean, I understand the iconic nature of that yellow cover, but that's also a time for a different video. This is the 1 in 10. I actually like the 1 in 5 cover better, but I really do like the 1 in 10 too. As far as some variants go, I have yet to see a copy of this that looked like it was going to be a 9/8, just because I think when these came out, retailers weren't expecting this to ever hold any value, so they just got thrown on shelves, and most of them probably only got 1 copy. So I've got 2 of these now. I really like it. I think I paid maybe $35 for each of them, but I've seen it. I think I've seen this one even get up to past 100. So this is my favorite copy of We Can Never Go Home. This was the preview for the comic book retailers. Cool thing about this is it's actually also got Rosenberg's phone number in it. I'm sure it's not his cell phone number anymore, but it did have it, so that was pretty cool. There's only 100 of these sent out. They looked up a bunch of different retailers that they really loved and they remembered from all their years in the industry, and they sent out these copies. It's the preview to try and entice some orders, so I like that. And I got this kind of cheap too. I think I found this, somebody on the CBSI, that's a comic book speculation and investment. Yeah. Their Google Plus page, and then if you go to comicbookinvest.com, that page, that community is awesome. So a lot of great guys and girls on there trying to make things better for each other and talk about comics. So somebody sent me that. I paid for it, but somebody sent it to me off of that community. This I picked up just the other day. Pretty good price. This is just a 9/8. I wanted a nice CGC 9/8 that wasn't PGX, wasn't 9/4. So nice 9/8 of that. And then about 5 minutes after buying that, somebody offered me a really good deal on some signed ones. This one's signed by Rosenberg, 9/8, certified. And last book I'll show is the 1 in 5, which is a 9/8. I've got some other books coming in. I think I've got a couple more of those microprint from Larry's Comics coming in. I think I bought 2 more each of those, so now I have 3 of each cover, total of that. So that's pretty cool. There's only 47 other ones out in the earth, so that is pretty much it for We Can Never Go Home. I really think that it's a title that is worth reading, if not investing in, as well as many of the Black Mask titles are. There's Young Terrorist, there's Ballistic, Liberator, Godkiller, Space Riders was wonderful. Like I said, The Disciples is also another wonderful title. They've got a ton of people who love to make comics and tell stories, and a lot of their stories can be important. They're not just drama-filled words on paper just to sell comics. A lot of them are stories that these people have wanted to tell and are meaningful. So I hope that you've appreciated this video, and I appreciate you taking the time to spend watching it. And I hope to see you again on Steven's Comics. If you don't know, there is a contest going where I'm giving out a bunch of free books. I don't know how many people have made videos for it yet, but some people have made some comments in the first contest, and then there's a second contest where you've got to make a video to enter. But tell you what, if you make a video and you win that contest, I'll also throw in a We Can Never Go Home trade. So there you go. I appreciate your time, and this was Steven's Comics. Have a great day.